Hey everyone, and welcome back. Are you ready for this? Today we're going to be diving into a topic that's got the whole internet swirling with rumors.
It really does feel like a digital hurricane out there.
I like that, a digital hurricane. And at the center of this storm is the Nintendo Switch 2.
Oh yeah, the whispers are everywhere, leaks and speculation. Enough to fill a whole data center, I bet.
And that's where we come in, right?
Absolutely. Think of us as your guides through this digital jungle. We'll be sorting through the noise, trying to separate fact from fiction.
Yes, sifting through all those cryptic clues, trying to figure out what's really going on with this highly anticipated console.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It is. And it's no surprise there's so much hype.
I mean, the current Switch is starting to show its age, don't you think?
Well, it's been around since 2017, so
Right.
yeah. It's like trying to run the latest games on a phone from like 6 years ago.
Exactly. It works, but you can definitely feel it struggling to keep up with those demanding graphics.
Especially when you compare it to the PS5 and Xbox Series X. Those are like the Ferraris of the gaming world.
True. And so naturally, gamers are eager to see what Nintendo has up their sleeve for the next generation.
Right. And speaking of next generation, CES 2025 just wrapped up.
That's the biggest tech event of the year, right?
It is. All the major players are there, showing off their latest and greatest gadgets and innovations.
It's where the future of tech is revealed. And this year, things got especially interesting in the Nintendo world.
Oh, how so? Spill the tea.
Well, you see, usually accessory makers wait for official announcements before revealing their new products. It's kind of an unspoken rule.
Right, they don't want to jump the gun and spoil the surprise.
Exactly. But at CES this year, some companies like this brand called Genki had displays with products that seemed to hint at Switch 2 compatibility.
Wait a minute, so they're already making accessories for a console that hasn't even been announced?
That's the thing, it's very unusual. It's like a car company making custom parts for a car that's still in the design phase.
So why would they do that? What are they trying to pull?
Well, the most likely explanation is NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, It's like a super secret pinky promise that prevents companies from spilling the beans.
So they know about the Switch 2, but they can't talk about it openly.
Right. But they can maybe, drop a few hints here and there, enough to get people talking and speculating.
Oh, it's all starting to make sense now. That's like they're playing a game of texture rates.
Exactly. They want to generate buzz without breaking their agreement with Nintendo.
Okay, so we've got these accessory makers dropping hints. But what other clues have surfaced in this digital detective case of ours?
Well, get this. Leaked images. There are pictures circulating online that supposedly show the Switch 2's motherboard.
Ooh, motherboard. Sounds juicy. What do they show?
Well, they're a bit blurry, kind of grainy, but you can definitely make out some interesting details.
Like what?
Well, for one, there's a chip that many believe to be the NVIDIA Tegra T239 processor.
Okay, so a powerful new chip.
Right, and that's been the subject of rumors for months, so seeing it in a leaked image adds more fuel to the fire.
It's like finding a fingerprint at a crime scene.
Yeah, it's a pretty convincing piece of evidence.
So what else does this motherboard reveal?
Get ready for this one. The leaks suggest a whopping 12 gigabytes of RAM.
Whoa. Hold on. 12 gigabytes. The current Switch has what, like 4?
Yep, you got it. 12 gigabytes of RAM. That's triple the amount.
Triple the RAM, triple the power.
Yeah.
That would make the Switch 2 a multitasking beast.
Oh, absolutely. No more lag, no more slow loading times. This thing would be lightning fast.
I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
So am I. And there's more.
There's more. Okay, hit me.
A USB-C port, a game card slot, and get this, a mysterious magnetic connector.
A magnetic connector? What could that be for? Some kind of new dock, maybe?
Possibly, or maybe a way to connect new accessories.
Ooh, interesting.
Right, it's like Nintendo is intentionally leaving us breadcrumbs.
Little puzzles to keep us guessing. I love it. It's like they're saying, come on, detectives, figure this one out.
Exactly. And then on top of all of that, there's another piece of this puzzle.
Okay, what is it? Another leak.
Not exactly. It's a patent.
A patent.
Yeah, filed by Nintendo. And this patent is for some pretty advanced AI-powered image upscaling technology.
AI upscaling, what does that even mean? Break it down for me.
Imagine this. You're playing an older Switch game, right? Maybe one that looks a little dated on a big TV screen.
Yeah, I can picture it.
So this AI tech swoops in, analyzes each frame of the game, and then intelligently fills in the missing details.
So it's like giving those old games a high-definition makeover.
Exactly. It's like magic. Those old games would look almost as sharp and crisp as the newest titles.
Wow, that would be incredible, especially with all the rumors of the Switch 2 having a bigger screen.
Right. If those rumors are true and we get an 8-inch screen instead of the current 6.2-inch, those upscaled games would look absolutely stunning.
Oh man, I'm already picturing myself playing Breath of the Wild all over again, but this time with even more detail and beauty.
It would be breathtaking. And it shows that Nintendo is thinking ahead. They're thinking about how to make their existing library of games look amazing on this new hardware.
Yeah. So they're not just abandoning the old stuff. They're finding ways to make it even better. Smart move, Nintendo. All right, welcome back, everyone. We're still deep in Switch 2 territory, and there's a lot more to unpack.
Yeah, we've barely scratched the surface.
Well, let's get into it. One of the biggest questions on everyone's mind is backward compatibility.
Oh, yeah, that's a huge one. Will our current Switch games work on the new system? It's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is. I've got like a whole library of Switch games, and the thought of starting from scratch, it's kind of scary.
I hear you. I mean, think about all those hours you've poured into those games, all those digital worlds you've explored. It would be a shame to leave them behind.
Right. So what are the chances? Will those old cartridges just magically work on the Switch 2?
Well, it's complicated. You see, the Switch 2 is rumored to have completely different architecture than the original Switch.
So it's not like just upgrading from an old iPhone to a new one. It's more like switching from an iPhone to an Android.
Exactly. The inner workings are totally different. So from a technical standpoint, it's not a simple plug-and-play situation.
So are we doomed to repeat history? You know, like back in the day when a new console meant abandoning your old games?
It's a possibility, but there's hope. Technology has come a long way, and there are workarounds.
Like what?
Emulation, for example. You could essentially create a virtual version of the older Switch hardware inside the Switch 2.
So it's like building a mini Switch inside the new one.
Pretty much. It's like a digital time machine for your old games. Another option is that Nintendo could release special adapters or even software patches for existing games to make them compatible.
Okay, so it's not a lost cause. There's still a chance we can revisit our favorite Switch games on the new console. But even if they do work, how will they look and feel on the Switch 2?
Well, that's where the AI upscaling technology we talked about earlier could come in handy. It could really enhance those older games and make them look amazing on the Switch 2's rumored larger screen.
So we might not get full remasters, but they could still look significantly better.
Absolutely. And they could potentially run smoother, too, thanks to the upgraded hardware. Imagine Breath of the Wild running at a silky smooth 60 frames per second with no frame drops.
Okay, now you're speaking my language. That would be a dream come true.
Speaking of dreams, let's talk about the console itself. What can we expect in terms of design? Is it going to be a radical departure from the original Switch?
Well, if those leaked images of the motherboard are anything to go by, it seems like Nintendo is sticking with the hybrid concept. You know, a console that can be played both docked and on the go.
Oh, thank goodness. That's one of my favorite things about the Switch, the freedom to switch between playing on the big screen and taking it with me wherever I go.
Exactly. It's a winning formula. And the leaked images also hinted some interesting changes to the Joy-Cons.
Oh, really? Like what?
There's talk of a redesigned Joy-Con with a new magnetic attachment system.
Ooh, magnetic attachment. That sounds intriguing. What would be the benefit of that? Well, for one, it could potentially solve the dreaded Joy-Con drift issue that's plagued so many Switch owners.
You're talking about when the controllers start acting up on their own?
Right. It's like they have a mind of their own, and it's incredibly frustrating.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. I've lost count of how many times my character has randomly veered off course because of Joy-Con drift.
It's a real pain, but a magnetic attachment system could make the connection more secure and less prone to wear and tear.
So fewer repairs, less frustration, more gaming. I like it. What else is new with these Joy-Cons?
Well, there's a mysterious new button labeled C on the right Joy-Con.
Button C? Huh. What could that be for?
Nobody knows for sure. There's a lot of speculation. Some say it's a dedicated share button for capturing screenshots and video clips. Others think it could be tied to some kind of new gameplay mechanic, maybe enhanced motion controls.
Ooh. It's a little puzzle within a puzzle.
It is, and that's what makes this whole thing so fun. We're all trying to piece together the clues and figure out what Nintendo has in store for us.
Speaking of mysteries, there's one more big question we need to address. Could the Switch 2 be Nintendo's entry into the world of cloud gaming?
That's a really interesting possibility. Cloud gaming is becoming more and more popular. And with the Switch 2's rumored upgraded hardware, it could definitely handle streaming games from the cloud.
I mean, it would make sense, right? Cloud gaming would allow Nintendo to offer those big, graphically intense AAA games that might not be possible on a handheld console alone.
Right. But there are challenges too. Cloud gaming requires a really stable and fast internet connection. And that's not always easy to come by, especially when you're on the go.
Yeah, that's true. Not everyone has access to super fast internet.
So Nintendo would have to find a way to make it work for everyone, even those with less than ideal internet connections.
Maybe they could offer a mix of cloud gaming and traditional cartridge-based gaming. Give players the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. We'll have to wait and see what they come up with. But one thing's for sure, the Switch 2 is shaping up to be a very exciting console. And we haven't even touched on the price yet.
Oh yeah, the price. That's a big one. How much is all of this going to cost us? We'll dive into that and explore the bigger picture of what the Switch 2 means for Nintendo's future when we come back. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground, but there's one big elephant in the room.
The price tag.
Exactly. Everyone wants to know how much this shiny new Switch 2 is going to cost.
And with all these rumored upgrades, it's a valid question. I mean, will it be as affordable as the original Switch?
Which was a steal, by the way. $299 at launch.
Yeah, it was a great price.
But with all these potential upgrades, a more powerful processor, more RAM, that bigger screen, could the Switch 2 end up costing an arm and a leg?
Well, it's a tough one. Nintendo has to strike a balance. They want to make it appealing to consumers, but also reflect the value of all the new features.
Right. They can't price themselves out of the market, but they also don't want to undervalue their product.
Exactly. Some analysts are predicting a price point somewhere between $349 and $399.
So a bit of a bump from the original Switch.
Yeah, but still in line with other consoles like the Xbox Series S.
That seems reasonable, especially if the Switch 2 delivers a significant performance boost.
Right. But what if Nintendo decides to go all out?
You mean like pack in some crazy new features?
Yeah. Features that would really push the boundaries of what a hybrid console can do.
In that case, they could maybe justify a price closer to $449?
Yeah, that would put it below the PS5 and Xbox Series X, but still a pretty penny.
That would be a bold move for sure.
It would. But hey, if the Switch 2 is truly a next-generation console with all the bells and whistles, then maybe gamers would be willing to pay a premium.
It's all about perceived value.
Exactly. Nintendo has to convince people that the Switch 2 is worth the investment, that it's not just a minor upgrade, but a true game changer.
Okay, so let's assume Nintendo nails the pricing and the features. How do they stack up against the competition? The PS5, Xbox Series X, and the PC gaming world are formidable opponents.
No doubt about it. But Nintendo has always been a bit of a wild card. They don't always play by the same rules.
Yeah, they got their own unique style. They don't focus on raw power as much as they do on innovation and creativity.
And of course, those iconic franchises, Mario, Zelda, Pokemon.
The Nintendo magic
Yeah.
is what sets them apart. And I don't think that's going to change with the Switch 2.
I agree. They'll likely double down on their strengths, those family-friendly games, the portability factor.
Speaking of portability, the Switch 2 could be the ultimate on-the-go gaming device.
Absolutely. Imagine playing the latest Zelda game on a plane or train with stunning graphics and smooth performance.
It's a huge advantage over those bulkier home consoles.
Right. And with cloud gaming, they could even expand their reach to players who want to experience those massive AAA games without needing a high-end PC.
So, a wider audience than ever before. But even with all these potential advantages, the stakes are high for Nintendo.
The Switch has been a massive success.
A real comeback story after the Wii U.
Exactly. So the pressure is on for the Switch 2 to not only live up to that legacy, but to surpass it.
It's got to be innovative, it's got to be exciting, it's got to capture the imaginations of gamers worldwide.
It's a pivotal moment for Nintendo. They have a chance to really solidify their position as a leader in the gaming industry, to show the world that they're not afraid to take risks and embrace new technologies.
It's like they're at a crossroads, and the decisions they make with the Switch 2 will determine their future for years to come.
Well said. We spent all this time dissecting rumors and speculating about what might be. But the truth is, we won't know anything for sure until Nintendo makes an official announcement.
Until then, the anticipation builds.
Yeah.
And that's part of the fun, right? So thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of the Nintendo Switch 2. We'll be back with more tech deep dives soon. Until then, keep on gaming.